Japan time. For those of you hearing us on the sub-channel of our domestic service, this is the audio service of NHK World. You can watch the program on our website. The Tokyo Fire Department has sprayed water into a reactor building at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. This follows a ground spraying operation by the self-defense forces on Friday afternoon. The Tokyo Fire Department began spraying water into the storage pool inside the number 3 reactor building early on Saturday morning. It suspended the operation after spraying water for 20 minutes, so work to connect electricity cables could continue. 5 fire engines and 13 firefighters were at the site. One of the trucks has a 22-meter-tall water discharging arm. Firefighters pumped water from the sea and used a 300-meter-long hose to continuously spray water. The firefighters are scheduled to resume spraying at noon on Saturday. They have left the hose in place so as not to delay the resumption of their work. Water in the pool for spent nuclear fuel is vaporizing because the cooling system failed. This could expose the fuel rods, causing them to melt and discharge radioactive material into the air. On Friday afternoon, the SWF used 6 special fire trucks to spray water into the same building. They sprayed 50 tons of water in 40 minutes. Prime Minister Naoto Kan met with the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Yukiya Amano, on Friday. The Prime Minister promised that his government would make efforts to ensure transparency in reports on the nuclear plant accident. In a meeting with IAEA Director General Yukiya Amano in Tokyo, Kan said the government will make every effort to disclose information about the disaster-stricken Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant. Amano said his agency, as well as the international community, are closely following the situation and want to cooperate with Japan. He also asked Kan to disclose more information. Kan said the government, the self-defense forces, as well as the police and fire departments are making every effort to prevent the reactors from overheating. But he also said that information-gathering efforts might be insufficient. Kan said the government is preparing to improve the quality and quantity of information by including photos of the plant on a regular basis and stepping up radiation monitoring. After meeting with Kan, Amano held a news conference. He said the IAEA would help the Japanese government by checking radiation levels in Tokyo and northern areas close to the Fukushima nuclear plant.
In addition to the effort by the government of Japan, measurement by the international organization will be helpful, I believe. We'd like to leave Tokyo for the nuclear plant at an earliest time possible.
The Nuclear and Industrial Safety Agency has raised the level of the seriousness of the accident at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant from level 4 to level 5 on a 7-level international scale.
This was a serious damage, losing over 3% of the amount of heat at the core, and radioactive substances are being emitted outside of the plant. So based on these facts, we raised the international nuclear event scale to 5.
The level is equivalent to the accident at 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant in the United States in 1979 and the worst ever to occur in this country. The World Health Organization has said radiation levels outside the evacuation zone in Japan are not harmful for human health.
Outside the 30-kilometer radius, there have been very low levels of radiation measured. And we understand, of course, the concern of people living outside the 30-kilometer radius that they might be affected. But the evidence so far, the radiation levels measured, would say that there's little public health danger from the radiation there. So if you're living in Tokyo or Yokohama metropolitan area or further afield, there is little public health risk.
WHO spokesperson Gregory Hartle was speaking at a regular news conference in Geneva on Friday. He said the WHO finds no public health reason to avoid travel to Japan except to the affected areas or to recommend that foreign nationals leave the country. Some countries are encouraging their citizens to leave Japan or are moving their embassies from Tokyo to Osaka. Referring to an examination of Japanese food imports by some countries, he said he cannot imagine that any food from the quake-damaged areas could have been delivered since the tremor. He said he concludes that there is no risk of exported Japanese food being contaminated with radiation.